Hey guys, so here is the next part of the video series on how to draw a face. Next, we are looking at how to draw the proportions of a face from a side profile. A side profile meaning the person is looking directly to one side. We're going to use a little bit different methods here, but all of these same proportions from the first video work for this video as well. So the eyes aren't going to suddenly change proportion just because the head turned. They're going to stay in the middle of the face. However, this time, instead of starting with an egg shape, we're going to start with a heart. And this heart's going to lean a little bit on the side. I would draw this very lightly if you're in pencil, hence me doing this in red right now. And when I'm talking about a heart, I'm meaning a heart leaning like this. And this is going to look really awkward for now, but trust me, trust the process. We're actually going to want the lump of the heart to be a little bit wider back here. So we're just drawing this heart shape here. Don't draw the perfect heart that you guys are probably used to drawing. Just kind of this generic heart shape like this. Our person is going to be looking this way, by the way. However, if you want to do it the other way and are capable of flipping everything that I'm showing you in your mind, absolutely everything should still work that way. I'm right-handed, so it's easier for me to have that person look in that direction. Once you have the heart shape, this is the basic shape of the head on the side profile. However, we don't have very flat faces and super round back of our heads. So we need to kind of carve out the basic shape of our person from this. The first step is going to be to shave off that pointed area of the heart like that. So we're kind of rounding that out. I don't need that point anymore. And you can see it's already looking a little bit more person-ish. And then when we get to the back of the head, I'm going to round the top a little bit more. And again, shaving off that pointed end there. Bringing that down. See, I'm following the basic shape of that heart. And kind of clean that up, shave off that point. And this is a method I learned in college, and it changed my life on how to draw side profiles. Because they're tricky, they're weird. Humans are weird. Every way we change direction, you draw us differently. So that's the back of the head now. We're going to kind of leave the front of the face a little bit alone. But as far as the jaw area, we're going to clean up that jaw area and kind of bring it down, cutting and shaving a little bit more off of that heart, just to make it look nice and clean. We don't want our jaw sticking up too much. And the style of jaw that you draw is totally dependent. Again, this is all based on generic person, but that the jaw will change drastically depending on the type of person you're drawing or sculpting. So I'm leaving it kind of an ambiguous jaw shape. It's not too harsh, not too rounded. It's kind of in the middle. And where the jaw should end up landing is somewhere, yay proportions, halfway between our head. So you can see by using that heart method, we automatically kind of found our half. Now, if your jaw, the back of the jaw here, did not end up in the half, feel free to retry drawing the heart. Or if the heart is too confusing, you can skip to this shape here. All right, so we have that split in half of our head again. And we're going to need to do the same exact thing as we put in eyes, nose, and mouth, just like we did in the last video. So we're actually going to start with the eyes this time instead of the nose. So we're going to want to give ourselves a guideline. And we're going to do the guideline from the top of the head to the bottom of the chin. And about halfway, again, I'm kind of just rough estimating, about halfway is going to be where our eye sits. I'm going to go ahead and draw that dotted line all the way across the head, like so. And the eye, we're going to go ahead and put our one eye. We're only seeing one eye since it's a side profile. The eye is going to land inside the head a little bit. Just barely, and you don't want it to be super close to the line, but not super far back either. You want it sitting just a little bit in. Kind of figure out that proportion. If you put your finger and your thumb on the bridge of your nose, you can kind of feel how deep inset your eyes are, if that made any sense at all. So this is the front of my eye. Now an eye on the side, reminder that eyes are eyeballs. They're spherical, right? So the eye itself is spherical, but our lids cover up most of that sphere. So this is just kind of the generic shape of an eye down here. So our lids would cover up most of that sphere that we would see anatomically like that, right? So then the eye would end up looking something like that. But we're not going to put all that detail in. Instead, we're going to kind of just give ourselves some basic proportions again. So the top lid extends a little bit past the eye. The bottom lid goes barely under. I'm going to close in on that just a little bit. Change the size of my eraser, because I do want it to be a little bit rounded. This is a round object. And the top lid, as I'm having it extend out a little bit, that's more kind of to represent the eyelashes, eyelash area, and a little bit of that lid extending out. But that eyeball is inset into the head. The way your face is shaped, where it comes to the eye, I'm actually going to put a line for the eyebrows already. The eyebrows, again, are about the same height as our eye, but above the eye. So I'm duplicating it, right? That's where the eyebrow's landing, and it's going to push a little bit forward past the eye, so it goes a little bit past it, like so. But the face shape changes because the eyebrow is a ridged area. So it actually pushes out past our red line and then back in, kind of closing in on that eye there. That's why you don't want the eye to be too close to that line, because we're moving in on it, homing in right there. So this is our shape of our head moving around our features. What we don't see in the front view is kind of all of that three-dimensional space that a lot of these facial features take up. The eyeball is a sphere, the eyebrow is a ridged area. All of that's not really shown off real well in a front view. That's why we do the side view as well, to kind of learn where things are in the face. So next we have our nose. I'm going to get rid of those guidelines. Next we have our nose, and just like in our previous drawing, the nose lands between inside the bottom half of the face. It lands about halfway. The bottom of the nose is about halfway, so I'm going to put my indicator there. And you have a couple options here. So 1/2, right? Couple options. You can leave it as a basic triangle and just extend that triangle out to give yourself that basic proportion of a nose, like so. So that kind of, again, Muppety Sesame Street look. That's totally fine. If you want to follow more of a normal shape of a nose, it follows the same path as that triangle, but instead of angling down into a solid point, you're just rounding that area and bringing it back into the face. And then I'm doing a little line for the nostrils as well. But again, I'm following that basic triangle. Everyone's noses are very different. Some of noses have lumps there. Some are more hooked. Some are more upturned. Totally dependent on person. But that basic nose structure is going to be kind of triangle down to the bottom half of the face. All right, same thing with lips. Lips occupying from the bottom of the nose to the bottom of the chin. Lips, we said, was 1/3 down from the bottom of the nose. So that line there. However, lips are very three-dimensional, meaning they do stick out quite a bit, like the nose. Again, the triangle on our first video didn't really do the nose justice of how much it sticks out. Same thing with the lip. So this line indicates kind of the open part of the mouth. So the lip actually extends out a little bit past the face. Again, very different per person, but it's occupying usually halfway into the nose. Like so. And you can see I'm kind of having this curled out, curled in shape for my top lip. Same thing, but opposite for the bottom lip. It curls out, kind of sticking to that same path as my top lip, and then goes back in. Now the bottom lip is a very different shape from the top lip, so it tends to hook a little bit softer, not as harsh as the top lip, much more rounded, but it does hook back into the face. As far as the line for the open part of the mouth, once again, that's halfway into the eye, like so. That looks a little bit silly now, I know. But if you theoretically add the lips in, it does fit proportionally. So where the lips would land would look something like that. I'll leave that top lip there, just for funsies. You can see the triangle of that lip actually kind of wraps around. It's not a perfect triangle like that. There we go. All right. Last step here is kind of modifying our chin a little bit. The heart wraps too close in, very weak chin, which you can use. However, chin sticks out a little bit more. There's a little bit of meat there. So I'm going to stick the chin out past my initial drawing, past the red line, and wrapping it back into the jaw, fitting that nice, perfect in there. So again, chin sticks out, lips stick out, nose sticks out, brow sticks out, but the rest of it kind of slants back. The front of the face is a very exciting place three-dimensionally. All right, so our ears are much larger than we think. But again, the ears are going to be occupying that space in between the brow and the bottom of the nose. However, our ears land perfectly where our jaw is, and where you start the ear is on this middle line. But instead of this little tiny line that we gave before, that doesn't look right, right? Our ears are fully in view when we turn our heads. So we're extending the ears out. You can see I'm occupying a lot more space, kind of following that same shape, but stretching it out. See, I'm not quite reaching the bottom of the nose there, so I'm adjusting. Just like that. There we go. And it's sitting pretty much on that middle line. So that ear there, occupying pretty large portion of the head in the back. Ear shape is out. It goes up, down and out, hooks around, and then we have our little lobe friend like that. And if you want to get into all the details, I do this quick cheaty. Look at that. That's a fake ear. Woohoo. But you can get into the nitty gritty and learn how to do an ear individually to learn how to actually draw the inside part. Right now, we're going to ignore the inside part. We're just going to leave that proportion there. All right. We're almost there. We're almost there. Got to do the neck next. Now, when we're doing a side profile, our assumption is that the neck is going to look a whole heck of a lot like how it looks from the front, right? Just two lines. Boop. That looks weird, right? That looks like one of those mannequins you could get at Hobby Lobby that just have the necks that stick out. Our heads are actually usually at a tilt. They're angled. We don't hold our head straight up. So there's a natural curvature to our head that we're going to carry through in the neck. But before we fully realize the neck, there's a little piece of skin. I like to draw this little triangle here that connects from the jaw to the chin. There's a little piece of skin there that kind of connects that neck out because our neck doesn't go straight into the head. It kind of curves into the chin. So I draw this triangle there to help me remember what the heck that is. So that is skin. And then our neck, we're going to start about this far, kind of splitting it in half again. I'm starting kind of straight down, but I'm soon going to angle it out just a little bit. Same thing here. I'm kind of following a parallel line like that. And I'm stopping right about here. Now, when you're in the back of the neck, it gets into like the spine and all that kind of stuff. So we're going to try to just ignore it a little bit for our proportions. Boop, boop. There we go. Adjusting. So our neck, again, is that kind of angled. It's not straight up and down. See if I drew those lines again. Look how silly they look. So that angle for the neck is really helpful to making those proportions look realistic. But now we got to bring this neck down into the shoulders. So once again, we have a collarbone. The collarbone does stick out a little bit and does go back into the body. We do have a pretty strong muscle that goes from the jaw down to the collarbone as well. So I tend to put a soft line there, which is hard to tell when it's a black digital drawing. But there's usually a muscle there. That's not an extra feature. It's just muscle, how we move our neck and such. And then for the shoulders, again, we're doing just a bust sculpture. So we're going to kind of cut it off and angle that up just to meet a shoulder looking line. Shoulder looks much more detail in the 3D version I'm going to show, as well as those 2D proportions. You can see I added a little bit of meat here because the shoulder would be there, but it's fine if you don't include this line. I just had it there because I naturally put it there. There we go. All right, our last thing, I know so much, we're learning so much, is that hairline again. Once again, hairline landing in the top half of the head, about 1/3 of the way down. And it follows that same style. Looks a little bit different on the side because we don't have the side of the head to kind of guide us. So often you're going to see kind of this weird check mark, almost like a speech bubble, like that, where it angles out and then has this little tiny area. This is usually where people's sideburns start coming in, and then just triangles down a little bit down into the ear area. Hairline does go back into the back of the head and usually stops pretty quickly when we hit the neck. So it goes onto the neck just a little bit, barely even down into the jaw, so about like halfway into the jaw, give or take. Again, very individual per person type thing. But the basic hairline is going to follow that type of structure and design. So this is 2D proportion, side profile, rewind to areas that are confusing, rewatch, and email me if you have any questions. All right, guys. Thanks. Have a good day.